Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to Geissberger Farmhouse Cider. I'm Gary Geissberger, this is my brother Gord, and we work together to press apples, and we're here to show you today just the whole process. Now, what we have behind us is our mobile cider mill, and it's the only one in Ontario. We spend a lot of time in September and October doing custom pressing for various farms around the province, and today we're here at our location at Mitchell's Corners, and we'd like to welcome you to the cider house, and we'll show you what we do. Now, what we also have is, because we've been pressing apples for a number of years, this is a picture of our grandfather and father, and just to give you an idea how things have changed, they're filtering cider back in 1970 through our mother's tea towel. It's come a long way since then, so we'll show you what we do now. And as you can see, Gord's dressed up in the protective clothing, sanitation, and everything is very important, so we use a lot of hand sanitizer, hand washing. We have our hand washing station available. And from there, he will get his gloves and hearing protection on and go up on the deck, and we'll get some apples pressed for you. Now, we've been pressing apples since about 1970. It was from a homemade press that was made by our grandfather's nephew from Switzerland. And we still do have it. It's in storage at the moment. But we used that press for over 40 years. Now we upgraded in 2012 to the mobile mill. So if Gord goes up there, he can get ready to go, and we'll get some apples in there for you. It might get a little bit noisy. So now we're using the press there. We do a rack and cloth type of a press. And you can see that it's pressing a stack of apple pulp that we had already prepared ahead of time. And that will compact that quite a bit. The cider then will go into a stainless steel tank through a coarse filter. On this side, we have one person's job is to put the apples into the washer. So today that's my job. We got these apples from Algoma yesterday, mainly because that's about the only place that has apples available this time of year, and they have really good apples for us, so we greatly appreciate that. So the apples go into the elevator, they get washed. There's 3 high-pressure nozzles that they go through. Then they will go through the chopper. The chopper will cut it into a very fine, almost like an applesauce consistency. From there, if you'll go over to the press. I hope you can hear everything there. You will go over to the press where Gord will make the stack. I'm just heating in a few more apples. There we go. Alright, looking good. So there you have the apple pulp coming through the tube, coming over from the chopper. Those in the stack, those are food grade cloths that we have. Years ago, back around, like I say, when our father and grandfather used to do it, we used to have burlap. It worked well, but not necessarily food grade at that time. So we have food grade cloths that we use. They're all washed at the end of the day and sanitized. Everything gets washed and sanitized at the end of the day. Go to make a stack of about 7 layers, and then the table will rotate. And if all goes well, he should be finished his stack at about the same time the press is done pressing on this side. So then the cider will flow from the press into that stainless steel barrel, a stainless steel container. It has a coarse screen in it, and that takes out any chunks of apple or anything like that that may fall into it while you're filling the stack. Now, once that table is turned, Gord will start pressing the other layer, and at the same time, he will empty the one that he just pressed. It will go into a bin on the other side. You can tell that these are really good apples that we got at this time of year because the pulp is very, very dry. Comes off in layers when you empty the cloth. It doesn't stick to the cloths at all. So there, you're going to start pressing that side, and then he empties the other side. So that's what the pulp looks like, very dry. You like it to be dry because that means you got a lot of the juice out of it. The press will take out about 75% of the juice from the apples. When you go to various farms, a lot of times they will take the apple pulp and they will give it to a neighboring farm, or if they have cattle or chickens or anything like that, they will use it for feed on the farm. And so nothing really goes to waste. Everything does get used. So Greg did show you the pulp, just a little closer look. Very, very dry. It breaks apart quite easily. It doesn't hang together. So that's showing that it's nice and dry. They got the cider out of it. So what we'll do is I'll turn this over to Gord. I will get the pasteurizer set up, and we will start with the filling. Now this is the best part. I get to watch Gary work and I get to talk, so this is the best part right now. So as Gary mentioned, we are pressing the cider out. Number one question we get all the time, and I apologize if Gary and I double up on things, what do you do with the waste, the apple pulp afterwards? Well, number one, there's not very much apple pulp left. For about every 4 bins of apples, we'll have 1 bin of apple pulp, and if we're at the farm, a lot of times we'll go for livestock feed or we'll go in the compost. So there's very little waste within this product. And so a good apple cider is just apples ground, squeezed, and boxed, as you're seeing today. And if we're running at a full speed, usually from press to packaging is about 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is now, it's gone into our main collecting, it's been filtered through a dairy filter. I think you talk with the dairy filter, Gary? Okay, so first, we have about 3 different filters on our press. The first one's the bag, the second one's the screen, the tank, and the third one is actually a filter from a dairy system. This is something we incorporated. Everything is a safety, and it's to take any big chunks that maybe have stuck through the system, because we don't like a lot of big chunks in our apple cider. So from there it goes into a holding tank here, and then it will be pasteurized in our pasteurizer. Oh, and there's actually the filter there. It's a sock filter. So that just fits right in there. So we'll have to change this. Usually for every 1 to 2 bins, we will have to replace the sock filter, depending on the type of apples we're doing that day. And the neat thing about apple cider is it's always different from sometimes different apples. So the start of the season, the taste is different from the end of the season because you're using different apples, and we're not adding anything into it. It's just the natural liquid of the apple that we're collecting. And as Gary mentioned, these apples are very nice. They're pressing very well. You can actually even taste the pulp, but it's actually very dry. So that's a sign that the apples are pressing out nicely. So the one step after it leaves our poly tank, it's going through our pasteurizer. And for apple cider to be considered pasteurized, it has to be at 76 degrees for 10 seconds. It's not boiled like a lot of people think. But the pasteurization is actually just a safety. Basically, if we're clean, the apples are clean, our equipment's clean, there's no issue at all. But the way it's pasteurized is actually really cool. And I got a bit of a picture here of inside this cabinet. So that's exactly what's inside. You see a great big stainless steel coil. And inside that 1-inch coil is another 1/2-inch coil. So the cider goes up through the 1/2-inch, and it's surrounded by hot water on the outside. So the cider is actually being heated on 3 sides. It's heated for about 15 seconds. When it comes up, the computer reads it. We actually package our cider at around 78.5 degrees Celsius just to give us that buffer from the 76.
And also for food safety, every half hour we record our temperatures at 3 different locations just to make sure we're above that 76 mark. So once the computer reads it and it says it's over 78.5 degrees Celsius, the pump turns on and it puts it into a holding tank, which is right above Gary with the 2 G's on it. And this is our bag filling station. We're actually very proud that both our bags and boxes are made in Ontario. And even our boxes are FSC certified, so they're Forest Sustainable certified. And by using this type of packaging, our apple cider with no preservative has a 1-year shelf life unopened. So this allows all our orchards that we visit to carry their own line of apple cider without having to use refrigeration. And that reduces the carbon footprint, because as you know, refrigeration is a big greenhouse gas emitter. So there he is filling it up. He's doing 5-liter bags right at the moment. And we can do 3-liter bags and 5-liter bags. And so there's a scale on there. So when he hits start, the nozzle will come over, and it will fill to 5.25 kilograms, which is equal a bit more than 5 liters. So it'll take about 30 seconds. And when it's done, he's going to push the air out with his hand just to minimize the air in the bag. There he just did a temperature check, and we'll record that later. Push the air out, put the spout in, and now that bag is sealed. He's going to invert it as it goes into the box. The heat from the cider will sanitize anything in the spout just to make sure. And of course, you just saw him put on a little white sticker there for traceability. Each time we run the mill, each batch has a unique number, so we can do trace in case there's ever an issue. So it's just a safety feature once again. Now the best part of this whole system is the cleanup, which we try to tell everyone. And it takes us about 2 to 2.5 hours at the end of the day to wash and sanitize the whole unit. So I try to tell people that's the most fun part, but I can't really sell that point too much. So different things we made with our product line is that, and we'll show you in a little bit, we have our box cider. We do different flavors. We do apple, apple pear, apple cranberry, apple peach, and whatever you see on is what's inside. So it's apples and peaches, apples, pears. There's no natural flavor additive, no sugar added, nothing's added to it. It's all very, very natural. So anybody who has a food allergy, they know exactly what they're getting. Now we can produce, with 3 people working, when we go to a farm off-site, the farm has to supply us with a couple of things. They have to supply us with a potable water source and a person that works with us for the day. And their job is to put the apples in and also take the cider away, and we supply 2 staff to run the mill. And we can do about 400 liters an hour, so that's pressed and packaged, and that's equal to about 2 apple bins an hour that we can process. So it's a really quite efficient system. And yes, if you ever saw it on Dragon's Den, it was one of our mills on Dragon's Den in 2013. So it was, the only thing we can say was, it was our mill on TV, it was our cider the Dragons tasted and liked. So if you see it, it was our mill on TV. So anyways, Gary's still going there, and he'll be there pretty much all day. We've got lots of work to do today. But on a good day, on 3 liters and 5 liters, we can do about 605 liters, and we've done about 903 liters in a day. So it's quite a bit of apples we've gone through. We service about 27 different orchards throughout Ontario. So it's a good opportunity for the orchard grower to get good value for his juice apples and give another product for his store that the customers can come in and buy. So I don't know if you want to step over to our product side here. We can get Gary working in the background. So basically everything we make at our farm here stems from our sweet cider, what Gary's making right there. So we have our 3-liter box and our 5-liter box, and from this we make everything else. So on this, we have our apple cider vinegar here, our standard vinegar, and our fireside vinegar, which is a super powered vinegar, and it's infused with horseradish, turmeric, ginger, onions, honey, lemons. So it's really nice. We have our new line of alcoholic ciders here that we just started last fall, And the nice thing about it, we like about our ciders, is we're trying to stay true to our grandfather's method of keeping everything natural. So we don't use artificial additives, we don't use sugar, we just use the natural fruit sugars. So we have our Honeycrisp wine here, it's really nice, and our hard ciders and our apple strawberry made with real strawberries. Yeah, the Honeycrisp wine would be the only one we do add a little sugar to increase the alcohol content. Otherwise, everything else is the natural sugar of the apples. Then we have our non-alcoholic sparkling ciders over here. So basically, we take our sweet cider, we put it through the wine process, but with no fermentation. We do not add any water to these, and then we carbonate it and bottle it. So it says apples and peaches, that's what you're getting. Apples and cranberries, that's what you're getting. We have gift packets that we do up at our store, and we also have, which has a whole bunch of different items in it as well. This is like the handyman one, it's got the tape measure there. And we also have what we call our cider splash. And this one we do add water to. It's a 50% apple cider, 45% water, and 5% a secondary flavor. So this is just a few of the products on our site, and you can get a nice overview picture of the whole mill working there. And notice we even have lights so we can work at nighttime, which is always lots of fun, usually during cleanup. How are we doing for time, Brenda? So one big question we always get also is, what's the difference between apple juice and apple cider? And basically, sometimes it's terminology, but a lot of times, especially in Ontario, apple juice has the understanding sometimes a bit more processed, such as like our sparkling ones, where we've taken out the pectin, whereas in Ontario, apple cider is more of a natural product, so it's just apples ground, squeezed, and boxed. Or sometimes juice is ground, squeezed, boxed, filtered, a few more processes involved. In Europe, cider is all alcoholic, so it depends where you go. You go to British Columbia, you'll see apple juice. So it's very funny how it goes, but in Ontario, apple cider is more of a natural product understanding. So this is our second mill that we have, so we're going to be very busy in the next month or so, and I think we'd like to thank everyone for coming out today and visiting our operation here at Geissberger Farmhouse Cider. And we have, I guess if you have more questions or any questions, we have a poster here for that. And we'd like to thank Durham Farm Connection for making a donation to the back door, food donation for us. And any more information can be found on our website at farmhousecider.ca. If you have any questions, please drop us a line. We'd be happy to answer them. And we have an on-site farm store as well. So now you can pop on in.